Hey there, my name's Nadernejad. I make videos for immigrants and people moving to Canada. I'm paving out to do some worldwide content because I've made almost 500 videos about these topics, but my channel is just a fountain of information. So subscribe, smash that notification bell. In today's video, we're going to be talking about 5 tips you can implement right now on the phone as an immigrant in Canada. Ain't that awfully specific? This is the only channel you'll find information like that. And I want to teach you how to become confident on the phone. I want to teach you how to speak on the phone without apprehension, with power, with command, and I want people to respect you. So let me give you some really great tips you can use on the phone right now today. The first tip I'm going to give you is slowing down your voice. When you speak on the phone, being able to vary your pitch, being able to vary the timing in which you speak is really going to help you. I'm going to show you 2 different examples, okay? I'm going to be talking about my experience, and I'm going to do it in 2 different ways. In the first way, I'm going to just talk without slowing my speech down, without changing inflection, and the second way, I'm gonna actually slow it down and show you how much more powerful and confident it comes across. So let's say someone is interviewing me for a job. His name is Bob, and he says, "Hey Nader, so tell me a little bit about your media production experience." And I say, "Okay. First of all, I started doing some production 5 years ago, and I really realized that I liked it, and I got my camera, and I started doing videos straight away. I built my very own website. I started putting ads out on the internet, and before you knew it, a lot of people sent me some messages. I got a couple of requests that I decided I was going to follow up on, so I would call people back, and then immediately we would start doing some production together. And over the years I picked up a lot of experience, and I'm really enjoying it, and I think the experience that I picked up will allow me to bring value to your company." See, there wasn't much varying, it was a little bit fast, but now look, if I slow it down, it makes it easier to actually think and use words. I hate to use this word, but actually manipulate the feelings and emotions that the person on the phone is feeling. So it doesn't matter if you have an accent. You can do this no matter how you sound like, and you can do it confidently. So I'm gonna slow it down a little bit. They say, "What's your experience like?" And I say, "My production experience, wow, let me tell you how it started." And I do it on purpose. I don't just say, "Let me tell you how it started." I say, "Wow, let me tell you how it started." I deliberate how it started. Like, I literally smash the inflection where I want it. Like, I do that in sales calls too. And sometimes my friends who know me or who work with me will see me do it and crack a sales call at an 80 or 90% rate, and they'll be like, "Nader, you're a bullshitter." And I'm not bullshitting. Like, I'm really feeling the emotion when I'm putting it through, but I'm actually crafting that inflection to create emotion. And you don't actually have to label the intention that you want to create. You just have to kind of know inside what you want to feel, what you want that person to feel. So I'm gonna start it like this. So it started 5 years ago. I picked up the camera and I made a few videos, and before you knew it, get this, one of them went viral. So I get these emails, and I wanted to work with people who shared the same vision. It wasn't all about money for me in the beginning. It was about finding people with the same vision. So once I got started, I couldn't stop. If what I'm doing aligns with what you're doing at your company, I'd be happy to help you. See the difference between just running on? All right, so that was rule number 1, using pacing, using inflection. What is rule number 2? Using psychological methods. So instead, if you want somebody to say yes to something like a sales call, instead of just saying, "Hey, you want to buy my package?" one really great thing to say is just get them to say yes. So I did a little bit of background research into your business. I just want to confirm a couple of facts. So you've been in business since '92. Okay, and you do B2B marketing primarily. And your goal is to reach more people in the business sector to sell more of your products. All right. Well, I've worked something out for you, and I really want to work with you. And I think helping you is gonna be much more valuable than making a quick buck, especially if you remember what I did for your company and you remember I was the one who brought you where you want to be. So I've done something for you. How does $2,500 a month sound? See how I've positioned that? See how I used inflection? Sounds like I'm thinking. So I'm using those tips that I taught you in the first rule, and I'm actually combining them, shablam-a-flamming them with a psychological trick. to actually, what we call that is the yes ladder. By getting people to say yes and yes and yes, you can move them up to another yes. It's like you're working together with them. So use the yes ladder. Look for more of these methods. They help, but don't rely on them. Actually, become socially intelligent. That's going to be the biggest thing that's going to help you. My third trick doesn't really have much to do with the phone. It actually has to do with being able to talk infinitely. So it's sometimes hard for people to just keep talking and saying valuable things. If you can learn how to talk about literally anything for a really long time, that's going to apply to the subject that you know about or the profession that you're in, and that's the best way to start. So if there's something you're knowledgeable about, learn how to talk about that, whether it's engineering, whether it's marketing, for hours on end. So I can ask you any question about marketing, like how do I get more followers? Bam, you can talk for hours and hours and hours and hours, and it leads on to other ideas, okay? So the best way to think about this is to find connections. Your brain is made up of neurons, and neurons that fire together wire together. What that means is if you can associate gaining followers on social networks with creating content, then you can talk about content marketing for hours, and you can also talk about gaining followers for hours, and you can combine those two things together, and you can separate them, and you can talk about them together. The more relationships you can find within your industry, the longer you can talk infinitely about products. And a lot of that has to do with reading, with research, and with practicing talking infinitely. My fourth trick is actually deepening your voice, and I'm really against this, to be honest, because some people do it. It sounds stupid, like it just sounds awful. Naturally, my voice sits pretty high. It actually sits pretty high. If I don't control it at all, it's actually like this high. Like it's pretty high. So you have to learn how to cultivate your voice in a way to use, like this is comfortable. I'm not deepening my voice, but I'm hitting my inflection where I want, like exactly where I want to hit it without straining. What you don't want to do is try to deepen it. Like that sounds stupid. You don't want to do that. That's obvious. There's actually, there's one lady who was accused of doing this. I think she created like this blood sampling company that you could get a blood test off of like, I think like a drop of blood, and she would actually deliberately deepen her voice. She was called out for this later on, but it's a psychological trick. You're actually going to come across as more, more knowledgeable, more respectable, just psychologically if you have a deeper voice. And I don't have the deepest voice. When I talk on the phone, I lean in the phone, I bring the speaker a little bit closer to my mouth. It's something I learned from radio. You don't want it like out like this. You're gonna sound far away and nasally. You want it closer, and you wanna kind of deepen your voice like this. You see how everybody has this velvety soft spot, like medium in their voice. And you wanna actually, it sounds kind of funny, you actually wanna find that. So I don't wanna talk like this. I wanna actually bring it down a little bit, and then I want to talk directly into the speaker, and I almost sound like I'm on the air. And that's actually going to generate something we call resonance. When I apply that and I use the psychological tricks that I talked about, and I talk about one topic and I sound very knowledgeable, and I use inflection, then it really, that's why I do so well on sales calls. And that's something you can do moving to Canada, and you just learn phone skills. Learn phone skills. You'll be better than most Canadians when you're moving to Canada. So that's one tip I have for you. The last one is what we call empathy. And I don't just mean be empathetic. Like a lot of people making YouTube videos giving advice just say empathy is great because it's become cool. And I'm glad it's becoming cool. But one thing I recommend you do in terms of empathy is find out what their pain point is. If you can even do it without asking, which I never recommend unless you already know, then say it. Be like, hey, I know what it feels like to be creating content every single day and not reaching an audience. It makes you feel tired, and you sometimes question whether making all that content is really worth it because of the return of investment. So you're almost scared to do anything. You can even feel paralyzed sometimes. So you went that deep because you realize they're making content, it's not reaching anybody. You went that deep to actually iterate what they were feeling inside without even asking. They're gonna be like, holy crap, that person understands me. But all you did was you realized the pain point, you said what you knew they were feeling on purpose to get them to feel more aligned with you to move forward and make a sale. I know that sounds like I'm talking about sales calls, but really, when you're talking to a person, you're selling yourself. And these 5 tips are really gonna arm you. I know more than just 5 tips. I know hundreds of these things. And this comes with practice, but I promise you, I can help you become the best on the phone, the most confident on the phone. And if you want to be confident on the phone, I've dropped a link down below. 92% off and more to my telephone confidence course made completely by me. I'm not selling this for somebody else. This is made by me for you. And if you want to become more confident on the phone and you were blown away, I don't want you to buy that course unless you were blown away by the value of this video. If this video was dumb, don't buy my course. But if you watched this video and you were like, all right, like I never thought of it that way, or it blew you away a little bit, go ahead, buy my course. It's 92% off. You're gonna spend probably around $12 or $13 dollars instead of like $200. It's really gonna help you. I make a career from online teaching. I've taught over 25 courses, over 30 courses now actually. So go ahead, check it out. I promise it'll help you. Subscribe, smash the notification bell. You don't have to buy my courses. Still free value on this channel. And thank you for watching.